because I want to talk about Mohamed Salah. I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you boys. Let me just tell you what my opinion is on the situation, on his outburst, on his statement, whatever you want to call it. I just want to start by saying, no uncertain terms, yeah, Mohamed Salah is a Liverpool legend, yeah? He's an icon, Premier League icon, some would say. Last season, best player in the league by a mile, won them the title, possibly best player in Europe, a lot of people are saying. Now, he's come out with this, they've thrown me under the bus, I'm a victim kind of mentality, which I just can't get my head around it. When I was watching his words then, honestly, my jaw dropped. I think like the whole time he's been in the Premier League, he's been idolized by their fans, and even in terms of the broader media and other fans, all I ever hear is if you're picking all-time Premier League 11s, Salah's got to be in there. He's as good as Henry, or the best thing since Henry, and all this. So I don't get where this victim mentality's come from, just because he's been dropped for the first time in his Liverpool career. On a slot, he's saying now the relationship broken down. He wasn't saying that 3 weeks ago when he was in the team. So is it just because he's not being picked? He's just turned on the manager now? This is a time where Liverpool, for me, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I can't tell them how to feel. But for me, if it was one of my players, I want you to put your head down, pull your socks up. You're the icon, you're the talisman. Get us out of this mess. Don't just run into the press and throwing your toys out the pram like some petulant child. I think it stinks personally. I don't know if you boys agree with me or if you think I'm being a bit too hard. But for me, I would be horrified if I was a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, 100%. Look, at the end of the day, no player is bigger than the club, in my opinion, whether you play for Scunthorpe, whether you play for Liverpool. As you said, I didn't hear any of this noise when he was in the team. And it's the first time he's been dropped and kind of been left out for a long time. I don't think it does the club any favours. Some people are saying, he has a right to speak out for what he's done for them. But at the end of the day, you've got to pull your socks up and work hard and get back into the team. I don't think it's anything revolutionary in football for a player to be dropped. I think it should be a conversation that happens behind closed doors, knock on the manager's door and say, look what I've done for the club. And it's, look, I love players that, aren't just happy to sit there on the bench. They want to play, of course they do. But I just don't think it does Liverpool any favours, given their really bad run of form recently. So it's a really weird one for me. I don't think it does him any favours, doesn't do Slot any favours. And look, if he's saying that he's a breakdown in relationship with Arnie Slot, he hasn't helped it. I don't think he's going to be picked anytime soon.
I kind of I agree with some of the things you're saying, and I disagree with some of the things you're saying, both of you. In terms of, I just think that when it probably has been your greatest player, maybe one of Liverpool's greatest players ever, in terms of, like, you've won more than Steven Gerrard. He's got, I think he's their third top goal scorer of all time. I think the situation has to be managed better than it has been managed. I don't think that you can just drop your talismanic player for 3 games in a row against kind of teams that you should be beating. If it was big games and that Liverpool were kind of going into these games where they were maybe playing a little bit different and they were going to be a bit more defensive, then I could kind of see it. I think you can't behave like Mohamed Salah. I don't agree with him, but I also think it has been badly managed by Arnie Slot. I don't think that Salah has been the problem at Liverpool this season. I think that it's been trying to fit maybe too many new players in and too many and maybe not thinking about their transfer policy correctly. And I think that's my kind of view on it. I think that it's been managed poorly on both sides. Arnie Slot was obviously saying a lot of stuff in the media, that everything was fine and that we still have a good relationship and he's working really hard, and I feel sad that he's not in the team. All sorts of stuff. If you go back and you look at the stuff he was saying, he was acting like everything was hunky-dory, and obviously everything wasn't hunky-dory. So I think that the situation has not been managed by Slot, maybe by the director of football, has not been managed properly. Not to say that Salah's done the right thing, but I just think that it hasn't been managed by Liverpool well either.
We're obviously not privy to conversations that have gone on between them, so we don't know what's been said between them. But there wasn't any inkling of a breakdown in relationship. My point is, until he got dropped, and I just don't think any player has a God-given right to have to be in the starting lineup. He's got a squad of 23, 24 players, and he can choose whichever team he likes. Salah's got to have a look at himself. He was incredible last season. As I said, probably the best player in Europe. He's got his new contract, and I'm not going to say he's down tools. I'm sure he's a very prideful man. He takes his profession very seriously, and I don't think he's down tools at all. But since he signed that contract, His performances have dropped. So he needs to take a
think
look at himself rather than run into the media and he's talking about throwing under the bus. He's throwing them under the bus. He's throwing his manager under the bus. He's throwing the club under the bus. He's throwing the fans under the bus.
Yeah, look, Arne Slot doesn't have a contract at Liverpool that says he has to start Salah in every single game. Chuck, let me ask you this, yeah? You're saying he's been poorly managed, but it's a footballing decision, yeah? Look, I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but if Arne Slot also has the right to drop Salah, what did you think when Ronaldo did his interview on Piers Morgan about Man United? Obviously, you're a Man United fan. How did that make you feel? Your kind of
I mean,
star global player coming out and doing that?
it didn't make me feel good, but Ronaldo went after the whole club, which was a little bit different. And it didn't make me feel good, but it was a poorly managed position. That's not the club is not managing the situation very well. Like I thought that he shouldn't have done it. He really did. Like, he broke a lot of Man United fans' hearts. I was really upset, but you're not managing your players properly. If your players coming out and doing this, you're not managing them properly. And I'm not saying that what Salah's done is right. I'm just saying there's obviously a breakdown. There's obviously a breakdown between the manager and the player. And if you're gonna drop him, then you say to him, "Hey, like, things have not been working. I need to try something. I need to, like." You don't just drop him and don't give him the information.
But is this not a conversation that happens behind closed doors then? What does
It is-
running to the
it is-
media do?
It is a conversation, but that happens behind closed doors. But there's obviously, but it doesn't seem like there was a conversation had with him.
Because
He's a
all-
star
because
player
all-
who
because
took
all
you
this
to the
does
league
is-
last year.
Yeah, but then all this does is then create speculation amongst, look, we're sat here talking about it, and then it becomes,
I'm not saying that Salah's done the right thing. I'm just saying
Mm.
that, like, you can't exclude what's gone on the club side, because whether you like what Salah's done, and I do not, to be very clear. But what I'm saying is that you can't look at this and be like, Liverpool have done the right thing. Go.
The comparison I make with it, sorry, just on the Cristiano thing, is he was more talking about the standards of the club have dropped since the first time he was there. He was not talking about the chef and the facilities and everything. He's just saying the club is not up to the standards that I expect. Salah, it's just all about me. It's all about me. It's, everybody's against me. Nobody likes me. I'm the scapegoat. They're throwing me under the bus. Harry Kane gets treated like this, and I get treated like. It's like, what are you talking about? Where's this come from? This has only come from because you're not in the team and your pride is hurt. And I get it. At the end of the day, he's a footballer. He's an artist. Musicians don't like you critiquing their art. Actors don't like critiquing their films. He doesn't like his performance has been critiqued, but he's got to have a word with himself because he's not been good enough this season.
I don't think he's been bad enough that he's the problem, though, Char. I think
He's one of the problems.
Yeah, but I think that there's a lot of problems, and the last 3 games, Slot has decided that he's taking Salah out of the team.
Yeah, and
it hasn't solved anything.
That's his prerogative. It hasn't solved anything. You're right.
It hasn't solved anything.
The results haven't improved. He should be turning up to training every day, showing Arne Slot why he needs to be back in the team.
But my point is,
performing on the training pitch. And like we say, if you want to have those conversations, have them behind closed doors. Obviously, we're not privy. Maybe that's happened. Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. But I think it feels to me like because of the way the season's going, he's regretted signing that contract, and he's either angling to get Arne Slot the stack, or he's angling for a move to Saudi or wherever we'll take it now.
I just think I just think that I don't agree with what he's done, but I can understand some of the points. It has been made out that Salah is the problem. Who else have you taken out of the team?
He's got to score the 24. They don't all start every game.
Yeah, but but who's been, like, over the last 3 games? Who's been the person who's been taken out of the team? It is Salah.
The big way, well, because Salah's the talisman, so it's going to make headlines that he's been taken out, of course.
Yeah, but
I'm sure he must have had a conversation with him.
Yeah, but my point is that he's been taken out of the team and things have not got better. He's also not even bringing him on. He's leaving him on the bench when they need to, like, it's like, my point is that I don't think he's right, but I can see that this is a bit weird. I drove us to the league last year, had an incredible season. Things are not going well overall, and it feels like he's been like he is being made a bit of a scapegoat.
It's like Kai says, you don't want a player to be dropped and they're just happy with it. You want them to have a reaction. You want them to be wanting to perform on the pitch. But I just think this is not the way to go about it.
I don't think it's the way to go about it.
It's the language he's used as well, thrown under the bus. Like, it's this victim mentality. Your friend.
Boys, have you seen the video when he's talking to the media? The Liverpool press conference guy has just got his head in his hands.
He knows he's working overtime. But that's our opinion. But what do you think what's his end goal here? Does he want Slot out? Does he want to get out himself? Is he
I
just
think he's looking
venting?
to get Slot out. If he's coming out and saying, well, me and the manager don't have a relationship. I mean, how do you repair it if you're going public with it? I think it's hard for us to say. I don't want to put words in his mouth or anything, but he's either looking to get Slot out or he's looking for a move in January, as you said, Saudi, wherever we'll take. Look, he's a fantastic player. I just don't think he's handled it in the right way, and no matter what, I don't think one individual's bigger than the club. Personally, that's my opinion.
I
But
think he's
yeah,
trying to get
no idea.
Slot out. I agree. I think he's trying to. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think this is a smart move. To be very clear, I don't think this is what I would have done. But I think he is trying to get Slot out. And my opinion is that I think at the end of the season that maybe he ends up at Saudi now, but like I think at the end of the season that they're both not going to be there. I think that Slot will end up going at the end of the season, and I think he'll end up going at the end of the season. Slot is obviously like maybe he's lost the dressing room or he's losing the dressing room or there's divides but like the players are playing terrible like like and or maybe we have to look at the board and say that they haven't given Slot a centre back which he obviously needs, but like I'm looking at their performances and we're watching the games and Liverpool don't look good.
Yeah,
And Slot has to take
they're not
responsibility
improving.
for that, and I think that they both end up going. But I think he's angling for Slot to get sacked, which I don't think is going to happen.
But the upshot is he hasn't travelled to Milan for the Champions League game. He goes to not to Saudi, so he goes to Africa for the AFCON soon.
15th,
Sorry, yeah,
goes
that's coming
15th.
up. That's coming up very soon. So they will have that natural break where he's not around the place anyway. And I guess they just see what he might be hoping that Slot's gone by then. By the time he's back, if not, maybe it's water under a bridge. Maybe they can have a conversation once he's back. I can't see them repairing it. I personally, if I had guns ahead, I think Salah probably leaves, goes to Saudi in January,
Do
and
you
and
both
then
think he's
they
played
just
his
carry on
last
with it.
game? Last game for Liverpool.
I do, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I can't see if you're manager of Liverpool Football Club. I just think if a player's kind of undermined you like that, regardless of what's happening behind the scenes, I think you've got to say as a manager, you know what, you've played your last game. As Charlie said, he hasn't travelled. I think that's the last we'll see of Salah at Liverpool.
Well, I think he's still. Well, there's still there's the Brighton game before this. Before he goes to AFCON. So potentially there, but yeah, I think if it is the last time we see him in a Liverpool shirt, I think really sad that this is how it's crumbled. I think great player. I think probably top 10, one of the best ever attacking players in the Premiership.
100%.
And I think it's really sad to see him go out like this. And this is what if we go back to it. I don't want to rehash it too much, but you go back to it. You can't manage one of like your greatest superstars like this, and that's how I feel about it. And I hate Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't manage a player of this quality like this. You've got to players have got egos. You know what these players are like. You should
I,
know what Mohamed
I
Salah's
just,
like.
yeah, again, we're rehashing it, but I just don't think that he got dropped for a few games. He wasn't out of the squad. Nobody came out and released statements saying he got dropped from the starting lineup for a few games. You just like you just
Yeah,
take it
but
on the
you
chin and
obviously
work
haven't
hard.
managed it correctly. You haven't told him that, we're going to take you out for these next 3 games and then you're going to go back in. What have you said? You obviously haven't said anything to him. Or that's what it seems like. They haven't. Slot hasn't come out and said any. Like Slot's interview was like, "Oh, I'm just surprised by this." What do you mean you're surprised by this? Why didn't you have a conversation with him? Honest Slot hasn't said, "Oh, we sat down and we talked that I was going to take him out for a few games and try some different things." You got to manage. You've got to be able to manage your players in the right way.
I understand he's like I said, he's the talisman, he's the superstar, but is it not a bit disrespectful to his teammate that's replaced him that he just thinks automatically I should start ahead of you?
Well,
Maybe the other
when you're as good as he is, and when you've been carrying the club
he's not been
as he
that good
has
this
been,
season. He's not been good this season.
yeah, but like we're talking about a player who's been carrying Liverpool for the past 9 years. You sit down and you have a conversation. You don't treat every player the same. Him and Van Dijk have been carrying Liverpool on their back. So you can't. His production is not like every other player. So you've got to talk to these players and you've got to manage the situation different. I just think it's bad man management from whether it's the Liverpool hierarchy or it's Slot. I think it's bad man management. I think that he's been insane. I'm not gonna say that he's been correct, but I think let's not say that Liverpool have done the right thing here. I think
Yeah,
they've done the right thing in
I
terms
think
of maybe go.
No, look, I don't want to do this topic to death. I don't. We can sit here for hours to do it. I think the kind of comments he's made are comments that you make once you've left Liverpool and people ask you, oh, look, why did it come to an end? And you can say, look, I don't feel like I had a relationship with Arnie Slot, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I was left out. Then maybe you can make them comments. But whilst you're still contracted to the club, given their really bad form, I just don't think it was like whether Slot has promised him stuff or there's been a lack of conversation. I just don't think it's a smart move, and he should know better.
It just doesn't help, does it? The situation they're
Yeah,
in, it's not going to help. It's only going to hinder them. So he's not putting the club first, like he says he loves the club, or even the fans, whatever. He's not putting them first. He's putting himself first, and that's what it is. Stinks of just a bit. He's a bit selfish to me. It's
bit
all about
childish in
Mo.
my opinion.
That's the way I
Yeah.
see it. But look, it remains to be. It's going to be interesting. We'll keep an eye on it, obviously, and see what happens. I think that the natural thing with him going to Africa may settle it down, possibly, but we'll see what happens once he comes back from there.